The show Rick and Morty is known for parodying a ton of other shows, and their most recent parody of Game of Thrones had the internet laughing out loud. Starring big names such as Daniel Radcliffe and Jack Black, the cartoon show has managed to prove why it's one of the best comedy series currently running. In today's video, we'll go over this hilarious parody and more. Stay tuned as we dive right in. Starting off, Rick and Morty sees Daniel Radcliffe and Jack Black star in Game of Thrones parody. In a recent Rick and Morty episode that was inspired by Game of Thrones, Jack Black and Daniel Radcliffe were added as guest voices. The two stars appeared in a recent episode of the animated series called A Rick and King Mortur's Mort. It's pretty safe to say this is a nod to Game of Thrones. In the episode, Morty becomes Sir Mortaniel, a Knight of the Sun, and unintentionally starts a solar conflict. Morty meets the Knights while riding a meteor, and when one of them is impaled by his own sword, the two of them are propelled into the Middle Ages, where Morty now finds himself anointed as king. But when Morty refuses to accept his new responsibilities and dissolves the Knights of the Sun, things start to go wrong, and the delegates of each planet engage in a civil war a la Westeros. Morty is compelled to consent to self-mutilation by cutting off his reproductive organs in order to restore peace and order to the system. All of this is done in an effort to persuade the Knights to return to their duty. But he's quickly exposed as a bluff when the Knights put Morty through a series of tests to determine if he's willing to carry out the deed, forcing him and Rick to flee by pretending to be dead. The Knights decide that this deed is sufficient and consent to reassemble in honor of their selflessness. Black voices a member of the competing Viscounts of Venus Order, while Radcliffe portrays one of the prominent Knights of the Sun. Next, how did fans react to Rick and Morty's GOT parody episode? We definitely think the show felt like a return to form for Rick and Morty, and it seems that many other fans agree. A fan noted that the episode felt like a classic Rick and Morty adventure, and that the episode was quite a lot of fun. They added that the best way to describe it is to say that it's a look at the character's development. While the plot may be simple, it's clear that this was one of the funnier episodes we've seen recently. Another reviewer appreciated the idea of the episode, stating that the ending especially made them laugh out loud. They mentioned that the recent episodes have been getting complaints from some people, but they doubt anyone will find something to complain about with this one. That said, it's the internet, so of course, someone found something to complain about. A viewer stated that while the premise was great, the episode falls off in the latter half, especially with its use of corny jokes. Plus, they added that it really didn't feel all too original. Well, considering it was a parody, we think it wasn't really supposed to, but hey, that's just us. Plus, what are some of the other best parodies we've seen in Rick and Morty? The humor of Rick and Morty frequently pays tribute to and parodies works from pop culture. Some of them served as the foundation for some of the comedy show's most iconic scenes, while others are irreverent, deconstructive barbs at the world-building of other properties. In fact, almost every episode of the series in each season has references to films or clear structural connections to them. Voltron is one example of recurring media that Rick and Morty, or just Rick, appears set on disrespectfully copying. Mad Max is already a piece of low-hanging fruit for a show that enjoys dimensional hopping. Rick, Morty, and Summer all got a taste of what it's like to live the daily life of a Mad Max character in the episode Rick Mancing the Stone. Speaking of mocking dystopian civilizations, Rick and Morty didn't hold back while creating an episode with a purge theme. In order for both of them to let off some steam, Rick placed Morty in a dimension where that specific legend is real. Additionally, Rick wants to make Morty a murderer for no reason at all. It was a crazy episode when Rick and Morty attempted one of the lesser-known franchises, Hellraiser. The concept that the Hellraiser demons, the Cenobites, are living creatures that draw their joy from pain was developed by the showrunners. Up ahead, Rick and Morty fans sound off on Season 6's big finale. Rick and Morty has now concluded Season 6, and fans are talking about everything that happened in this series finale. The show's 6th season began with the introduction of a big new baddie, and subsequent episodes have turned things upside down by revealing other sides of Rick. The rest of the world continues to complicate matters as he develops as a person. Given all that had already happened in the episodes, there was a lot of uncertainty about what viewers could anticipate from the holiday-themed season finale, so they were shocked to discover even more about Rick. The revelations from the last episode led to some fairly significant surprises, and the stage is now set for Season 7 as Rick and Morty prepare to face the major enemy. Not to mention, here's everything we know about Rick and Morty Season 7. The conclusion of Season 6 of Rick and Morty previewed Season 7 in the most blatant way possible, sparking speculation and excitement about the show's future. Many viewers are well aware of how Rick and Morty seasons conclude, and for good reason. Rick frequently inadvertently addresses the audience towards the conclusion of the season to preview upcoming episodes and make insensitive remarks about what viewers might think. Still, the anticipation for Rick and Morty Season 7 follows the same pattern, with a speech that teased a lot about Season 7 and what it could contain. Rick cheerfully ended Rick and Morty Season 6. Still, certain information from sources other than the show also established the course for the 7th season. While details concerning it are still harder to come by, one thing is for certain: there will be another season. It seems obvious that Rick and Morty's upcoming season will air soon, given that the series is still short of producing all of the episodes Adult Swim ordered from it in 2000. 2018. Following up, Rick and Morty creators defended Game of Thrones' ending. The conclusion of HBO's Game of Thrones wasn't disliked by everyone. That said, Rick and Morty's creators, Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, were happy with its conclusion, so much so that they defended the series in a brand new interview with Entertainment Weekly. For a while, Harmon acknowledged that he was terrified to watch it because he didn't want it to end. He wanted to continue watching the fantasy series. But Justin was just as content as he could be witnessing a mainstay in his life come to an end and all the characters killing each other off, since he knew it had to end. As a showrunner, he was astounded by how much they managed to do, especially in light of the meta-reality that they had run out of novels to adapt. He thought, man, this is all amazing, as he watched the Hound and the Mountain battle it out on the stairs. Although Harmon relied on the audience, he said that he was conscious of the disappointment element with Dany's dark turn. He added that he won't claim that fans are overly critical and unappreciative, but it seems that he did think there was truth to the statement. You can be sure that he's some knowledge of what it's like to have a toxic fandom. Up next, what was Roiland's response to the GOT ending? Roiland commented that he shared all of Dan's feelings regarding the show. He personally thought the structure was excellent. He only wanted more episodes for his own sake. He intended to move more slowly towards those story moments. Like the fans, he didn't want it to end. He only wished it had been spread out over 3 or 4 additional seasons or episodes. Roiland commented that there won't be another show that enormous. He added that he shouldn't say that since there's always the possibility of something lurking nearby. But that series was a sensation. It was absurdly large. Everyone was noticing it. It should be mentioned that D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, the showrunners of Game of Thrones, are also huge Rick and Morty fans. Even the groundbreaking episode of the series Pickle Rick had an audio commentary track on the DVD given by the two. Roiland said that he adores them. They're amazing men and apparently great friends with Roiland.
Come on, that's it. Come get this delicious brine.
Finally, how did some other stars react to the GOT finale? Recently, Maisie Williams joined in on the discussion around the Game of Thrones last season. The GOT star who plays Arya Stark said it absolutely fell off at the end during a Twitch live with her brother James Williams. The HBO series started pretty great, she continued. She said that the show popped off right from the get-go, but the actress mentioned that from the outside, she was never able to see it, which is why now that the show's over, she can step back and see it for how it was from start to finish. Williams said she was sad when Ned died, although she knew it was coming. That was a huge heartbreaking moment for all fans, so we can see where she's coming from. It seems that Maisie's brother agreed with her statement. He continued by saying that even though there were screenplays lying around the home, he never wanted to give away the plot to himself. People frequently questioned him if he knew what would happen. From the sound of it, Maisie wasn't too happy with how the show ended. Even Kit Harington once called the finale disappointing in an interview, but later played it off as a joke. Lena Headey acknowledged that she first felt divided about Cersei Lannister's decision, so it's clear that the opinions of the cast range when it comes to the conclusion. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on Rick and Morty's GOT parody episode? Comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.